Hi, I'm Colin from Performance Parts. We've managed to bag some time with Matt Llewellyn, crew chief for FS-3 Kawasaki. He's going to show us around a British superbike and what some of those buttons and sensors and stuff like that do. So let's go and have a look at what he's got to show us. I'm here in the FS3 headquarters with Matt Llewellyn, who's crew chief for Rory Skinner. And we've got Rory's bike here. Matt's a former BSB racer himself, many years spent on the grid, multiple winner as well, race winner many times on Kawasaki's, Ducatis. You know, we won't go back to the years but great to have in the team as an experienced hand and been there, done that. So we're just going to get Matt to talk us through some of the technical aspects of the bike a little bit for anybody who's perhaps a bit like me, not so sure about what some of these parts do or mean. Perhaps starting with the very obvious multiple coloured buttons that we have here on the handlebars, Matt.
Yes.
So talk us through them. What do these mean?
In BSB there's a control ECU, and the system is a Motec group of companies. So it's one make series, just on the ECU, so the control.
Right, okay.
So there's no
no one gets an advantage.
Yeah.
Everybody has to use the same electronics package.
Yes, yeah. And, you know, no launch, no anti-wheelie, no traction.
Oh really? Right. So no anti. So some of the stuff that you would normally get on a modern superbike, you're not allowed to have on a BSB bike.
No, because it puts a lot of skill back into the rider.
Yeah.
Of, you know, throttle control, coordination.
Yeah.
So you know, it is a real good platform, and it's been there for quite a while.
That's quite interesting because a lot of our viewers would perhaps have an S1000RR or something. It comes with all the launch control and anti-wheelie and various maps. And to think that Motec's basically taking that away and making it all rider control, that's pretty cool actually, isn't it? To know that the riders...
And also, the main reason for doing it was the cost really, because you'd spend like perhaps £60,000-70,000 on a system, but then you need a real specialised data guy that could work the system and understand the system, and he would perhaps another £40,000.
So that maybe give an advantage to teams that had a bigger budget.
Yes,
that could then put the most expensive data and the data analyzer and controller, and so it kind of levels it out a bit if everybody's got the same Motec system. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what do these do then?
So we've got the red button that powers the bike up. Turns on the dash.
Right, okay. Very cool.
2 or 3 different pages on the dash. The yellow button that turns to green when you press the yellow button. So green light, green for go. You can start the bike.
Okay.
So that's just power on, power off.
Right. Okay.
So when a rider comes into a garage, you can just hit the yellow button, turn the bike off, but leave the bike live.
Oh, so you can download all the data.
It's a quicker way of doing it.
Right.
And then green button is to start the bike. Okay. And then the orange button at the top, on the Motec you can have, there's 2 different maps that you can have, an A map and a B map. So the orange button toggles between 2 maps. Okay. And that's for the engine braking control.
Oh right, okay.
The EBC.
Yeah.
So in a session you can start him with no light, which is map A. Yeah. And then if he wants to try something that we've put into the map, more 2-stroke or more 4-stroke regarding engine braking. Yeah. So you can get to an end feeling or end result quicker. Right. The rider can just toggle between the 2 maps.
And is that something you would build into the map in analysing the data, and you'd say we could probably feel that he might benefit from a bit of this, and you could put it into the map for him?
Yeah. Sit down with Rory, show him, talk about the corners, the settings, the sort of feeling that he's getting from it.
So he maybe wants to go in a bit faster, a bit with less engine braking.
Right,
okay.
To keep it simple, I tell you, is like, do you need more 4-stroke? Right. A lot of racers have either raced 2-stroke or 4-stroke, so they relate to that. Just keep it simple. So you've got 2 map options on the EBC engine brake setting. The white button below is the ignition map.
Okay.
So the actual ignition base table map. There's A version and B version.
Right. And is that to give it a harsher feel, or
so again, you can soften it.
Yeah.
You know, for race, say you went to a circuit that's quite hard on rear tyres, say like Thruxton.
Yeah.
Really hard on the rear tyre. Towards the end, if the tyres, really getting
a
bit loose,
soften it off a bit.
Soften it off, yeah. So they can just swap the map again, just to soften the power delivery, just to make it a little bit easier, perhaps just for the last 5 laps.
So that's where you hear commentators talking about controlling the tyre life, and some riders can preserve it more than others, and maybe they're using that map throughout the race a little bit to lengthen tyre life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We've got a prompt, we've got it's just a map on the pit board.
Okay, so to suggest for him to change maps.
Just last 5 laps.
Right, that's interesting. So you do have an element of remote control where you say, look, we think you need to change the map now.
Sounds easy, but to get a rider to press a button, you cannot believe sometimes how hard that can be. It's like, just press the button. Just press the button and try it. Yeah. So it's quite a tricky one, that is. But Rory's not so bad, to be honest, so it's not too bad.
Brilliant.
And then the green button there is the pit lane limiter. So it's not an actual button. The rider has to hold it down.
Okay.
And it limits the bike to 60.
Yeah, so that within pit lane he's not going to get penalised.
Yes, for pit lane speed. Okay. So that's just a hold down button for the rider, just to limit the speed.
Brilliant.
Those are rules.
And we provide you with the master cylinders and the cable clutch perch, Matt. And I see you've also got one of our remote adjusters, and that's connected to the brake lever. And just talk us through what that does for anybody who's perhaps not aware of it.
Yeah, same again, Colin. The clutch, obviously, the riders only use the clutch now for start.
For launch,
the bike, perhaps 4 years ago, they did allow a blipper system into the Motec ECU. So once the rider's done the start, he won't touch the clutch again.
Okay.
So the clutch really very rarely needs adjusting. It could do, if say the race got red flag, they had to do a restart. They've always got some adjustment there.
And is that something you would check if the race was red flag? Would you do that as a matter of course?
Yes.
Would you go through that as your checklist?
Yes. Yeah. Not so much to ask the rider to do it, but I'd do that on the grid.
Yeah.
If you go out for the restart, just check the clutch clearance. The brake adjuster, believe it or not, the rider can obviously alter it out on track. To be honest, they don't move that much, Colin, to be honest. The SPS brakes and the Galespeed mass cylinder, the feel and the lever position doesn't.
So it's fairly consistent.
It is,
brilliant.
But we have to have it there just in case.
In case of particularly hard. Donington's always hard on brakes. Isn't it? Melbourne Loop's always a famous one. Yeah, so that's interesting to know. I mean, you often see these buttons, and I know that everything has a function. You wouldn't put anything on there. So perhaps walking around the bike, I've always been fascinated by, you can't actually see it on this side, but there's some sensors on the brake caliper and to do with the suspension. What is this?
That's the front potentiometer.
Okay.
That measures the movement on the front end.
Okay.
So
under braking,
so that you bumps, accelerating off the turn.
So it's data.
It's data. It's grabbing data for us. And then the other sensor is a front wheel speed sensor. So that monitors the front wheel speed, and the actual calculation for the engine braking relies on the front wheel speed.
Okay.
So it's like a maths channel that works it out.
Okay.
So you can do the mapping from a engine braking point of view. So all the sensors are on the bike. Like I said there, got the same rear potentiometer on the rear suspension, so you can see where
so it's always giving you data on both ends of the,
just to get as much information out of the bike as you can.
And the suited swinging arm, that's something that we work very closely with you. When the Akrapovic exhaust was redesigned for you, it was so that you've got sufficient clearance with the suitor arm. Many owners of ZX10s will look at the OEM swinging arm, and it's quite a chunky piece in its own right, but I guess you switched to suitor for a very specific reason, and it's a huge bit of aluminium.
Yes.
Very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I know they are. But what's the benefit of switching to swing arm? More rigidity? Is just easy?
Yeah, for sure. You know, the standard swinging arm is very good, but this is underslung.
Okay.
The Suitor compared to the standard, which is
the bracings at the top. Right.
And the flex is, you know, the rear standard suspension and swinging arm just flexes more. Mm-hmm. So for a super bike with a lot of power, slick tyres, i.e. more grip, you know, we just look for the best that we can put on the bike, really. I
mean, I'm a fan of super stock as well, because you know you race what you can buy. And you know the lap times of a super stocker, when you look at being on treads and with us, none of the complexities that you get with a super bike, they're going quick, aren't they?
Oh,
you know,
No,
the stocker these days, and they're close to 200 horse anyway. All the way to 200 horsepower.
That's right. And like we spoke about earlier, you know, a super stock bike now, obviously based on a modern road bike, has got all the right aids. And in super stock they do use on them, you know, so like the anti-wheeler, traction, launch control, super stock rules, you know, that does allow that. So their lap times are quite, you know, very impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, they are, absolutely. Thanks for giving us a tour of the bike there, Matt. Really useful information, actually. I've learnt stuff, and you know, these things are becoming increasingly complicated. So thanks for the info.
No problems.
All the best for the coming races and the weekends. I know you guys deserve some wins. So fingers crossed for you.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.